Well, I've just been up to check the spot we'd planned to fish when we were preparing the pheasant yesterday, but unfortunately it's over there and we can't get to it. So we're going to have to make do with where we originally set up this morning. So we've managed to wheelbarrow everything down as far as we can. We've set up a wee kind of base camp, so to speak. We've had our breakfast this morning at Greg's and we're going to prepare that dinner later on this afternoon. Get a fire going. We have got 4 rods out and I shall at some point in this video talk about that wee secret weapon I purchased. It's not a sponsor, it's not been given to us, bought it myself, and it has thrown up. Social media is a great way of looking for new ideas, looking for different techniques, chatting to people, what are people trying different. And this oil, these sprays seem to be making a difference for some people. Now what I will say at this point is Alex and I have tried this before where he doesn't use the oils and I use the oils. Now if I'm not mistaken, Alex, you can correct me here, I think it ended 6 each. So there was no clear indication to say that oils performed better than not using it. Fishing next to each other, same style, same technique, same location, all that kind of stuff. But this one seems to be producing some bigger fish. Now whether you agree with them or not, or whether you think they're a good thing or not, the next few months will tell, because I'm going to be using them. And we'll see how they pan out. Alex isn't going to use them, and then we'll maybe make a wee comparison at the end of the dead baiting season, the end of March, whenever that is. So we'll see how we go today. So I mentioned earlier on there that I'm going to try this new oils, and we're going to try a comparison. So the oils that decided to buy, it was on everybody's probably seen the fish that the guy called Jerry caught, and it was like £39 odd. It was just shy of that £40, an unbelievable fish. And I've been kind of looking at this oil and spray from afar on social media, and I seen that fish and I thought, do you know something? The way our fishing's been going, especially the pike fishing, it's just been a bit of a lull, and I thought, do you know something, I'm going to give that a try. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to try something different. And this is the range here. I just went, I nearly said something I shouldn't there, but I just went all in and just bought all variations. But the one that seems to be the buzz one now is this one, King Crab. And I got some baits delivered yesterday. They were a wee bit soft, so I took that opportunity before putting them in the freezer and injected them all whilst they were still in the packaging. Now when you buy that range, it comes, in my opinion, these come with needles that are far better than any other ones I've bought. They're really, really strong needles. Pretty handy. Not that they're pretty handy, you need them to put the oil in. And it comes with these sprays for dyeing the baits, if you like to dye your baits. Again, Alex is never a fan. I've bought dyed baits in the past, but now we've got the option to try different things and just see if anything works. Just as a tip, don't do what I done when I come in for work and take that out, because see that wee bit? It sprung back on me and had dye all over me. And I didn't smell so great for a while, so just be careful of that. But as I say, we're not sponsored by them, we're not plugging them, just showing you what we're using. There are other oils out there if you care to try them, one of them ones. But just thought we'd let you know what we're trying. And as I say, we're going to see how the comparison works out come the end of the dead baiting season. As it stands just now, we've not one single beep in the alarms. So, probably in the wrong spot. But drop it in the comments to maybe spark a conversation. I did on my Facebook the other night. What's your thoughts on them? Do you know what I mean? Do they make a difference? Is it a gimmick? Alex thinks it's a gimmick. I think there might be something in it. Who knows? But we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. So that was the secret sauce and the crab sauce and the sprays. We'll give that a go. See what happens.
I am not feeling this today. Not been feeling this for a while. This is, I think, the worst run I've ever had in my fishing life. It's demoralising. It's really tough. Don't think I've had so many blanks in a row. And I am just struggling to get a wee bit excited about any of it just now. But I suppose that is fishing. Comes with ups and downs, and you kind of ride out the rough days, but nah, not feeling this today. Just want to get lunch on, really. At least I've got that to look forward to. There you go, that's the way it goes. We've got a run. Was not expecting that today. Yep, it's away. We're in. We are in. Yeah, feels fairly. It's always hard to tell, but yeah. Nah, I don't think it's that big. Yeah, I don't think it's overly big. Nah, it's just a wee one.
You like using it? You like grab it?
Let's see how he's hooked. Aye, get him in there. Well.
No feeling it, huh?
Not feeling it, but it's a fish. I'm going to have a wee look at him. He says only a wee one, and he wanted that mackerel. Nicely hooked. We should be able to get that out in no bother. I hope. Really important to hold these fish quite firmly. Just caught in the gill breaker there. There we go. Eventually. There we go. He's really small, wee skinny guy, so we'll get him back pretty quickly. But hey, it's a fish and it's more than I've managed on the last few sessions. Let's get back. There we go. It's a windy all day, those waves are crashing in. The water's cold as well. The wrong way. Hey buddy, that way. Not a drop of oil. One tone tackle. So that wee fish really wanted that bait. That's the bait that caught the fish. It was halfway down its throat. It didn't even chew it, look, not even a tooth mark in it. But when we've got the bait out, I'm just going to chuck that one back. There's no point in rebaiting, that's perfectly good bait. And the way we hook the bait's very, very simple. tail root and flank. So tail root is the top treble and the flank or the back is the bottom. And when it says tail root, it means that flat bone right at the very top, or right at the very bottom of the fish, right at the tail. If you hook it in here, which I've seen a lot of people do, and at the actual wrist of the tail, you risk breaking the vertebrae that holds the whole fish together. Right in the very end, it doesn't look awfully strong, but that is the strongest part of the whole backbone of the fish. That you can chuck for absolute miles. You can put a right good whack in it and it'll hold. Whereas if you use the actual wrist of the tail, it has a tendency to break. So I find it works. You guys might differ, you might disagree. But that's the way I like to do it.
What else have you done there?
Well, with the
Something
tail,
that
yeah.
I never used to do, but now do.
So obviously the mackerel come with the tail, fork tail. I like to trim the tails off. Just makes it a little bit more aerodynamic going through the air in the cast, and a little bit more hydrodynamic. It stops the bait spinning as it falls through the water. So yeah, just trim the tail fins off. And again, sometimes you'll see people actually trim the whole tail off. That way you lose the tail root. You want to keep that tail root in place, so it's just the fin that comes off the tail there. Almost like a little flight of an arrow. But hey, a bait in the water's a bait in the water. I don't think it really matters how you do it.
Caught a fish, but
Caught a fish.
Feeding time. I literally picked out another biscuit when I took a wee bite of that biscuit and Alice got a run. Got a bite of another bit and got another run. I think this has got a load of weed on it. Feels tiny. But hey, it's a blank saver. The height of nonsense that one. Oh. Now it wakes up. Oh. If I get the forceps and I'll just unhook it in the water.
Like a minute.
It's very lightly hooked. Come on, wee guy, I'm trying to do you a turn here. I'm always sceptical of these trebles. Especially with the weird fish. Because they can be a bit lively. There we go. They ain't big, they ain't massive. I'm not going to break any records. But they're all lovely, lovely, lovely condition fish. Look at that. A future monster. Probably bolt away straight away. Well, blanks off. One each. One each in the oil versus non-oil.
Right, so it's a bit wild out there. I'm starting to get a wee bit hungry. So we'll get the food going, but we're going to hide in the bivvy, out of the wind, just to get the majority of it started. And then we'll get a fire going out here and we'll finish it on the fire. I've done a wee bit of prep this morning. Well, things were a bit quiet. Cooked up some swedes, that's a swede from the allotment yesterday, and the kale. Mixed them in together with some butter, salt, pepper. And that's red, that just needs reheated. That's good to go, so that saves a little bit of time. And then last night, confit the legs. Now these were cooked for about 5 hours last night, low and slow. And again, they just need to be finished on the fire. I think we'll get them over the coals.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping I'm not the only one that said to you yesterday, what the hell is confit?
Confit.
So for those that don't know,
Now, I ain't no chef, but confit is a way of preserving meat where you cook it really low, really slow, covered completely in fat. And that fat can be butter, it can be oil, and in this case, goose fat. And then once the fat sort of dries or cools, over the top of it, you can then preserve that for up to a month. I've taken the oil because I've recycled the oil. It was about £8 worth of goose fat, so that's been recycled and put back in the jars. And I've taken the legs out. But yeah, finish them over the coals. And ideally, they're quite cold just now because they're just out the fridge. That should just break off the bone lovely. And we've got 4 of those legs there. The breasts from yesterday's butchery session. Again, they'll just be pan fried later on, nice and quickly. So we're basically having pheasant 2 ways. Confit pheasant and a pan fried breast. On some swede and kale. Again, a wee bit busier earlier on this morning. Got some parmentier potatoes on the go as well, so they can go straight on the coals later on and they'll crisp up a little bit. But they've just been boiled, sautéed in butter and rosemary.
smell amazing.
They smell good, don't they? Aye, they're great. So we'll get a sauce going. We need a sauce. Sauce probably takes a wee bit longer, so we'll get it should have been a garlic and white wine cream. But someone forgot the white wine. And it wasn't me. So we'll chop up some onions, bit of garlic, get some stock on the go, and we'll give a wee sauce to go over the top of it.
Well, he wanted a fire, and I can tell you, that is toasty. Doesn't look cold, but that's a cold wind. It's blowing right into your face. Hence why the bivvies are the way they are. Alarms turned up loud, just at the back easier. So we need to let this come down to coals for Alex to work his magic. That's like too hot, my waders are melting. To work his magic with this venison. So he's still got some of that sauce to make, so he better get his finger out. I've done my bit. The fire is almost ready to go. But the oak staves, man, they don't have burn hot. Looking forward to this dinner.
So while that fire burns down to a sort of cookable level, it's got a wee bit to go, we'll finish off with this sauce. So yeah, onions, garlic, sautéed off in there. We'll leave that to the side. And this is where the summer's sort of efforts come in handy in the winter. These are birch billets. The birch billets that we foraged back in August, I think. They've been dried and they're as good as they were back then. And these are oysters, grey oysters, that I picked up a couple of weeks ago, I think, and they've just been dehydrated. So we can rehydrate these in some stock, make a sort of mushroom stock, add the onions and garlic back into it, reduce it down, stick in a bit of cream, and it should be great for the pheasant legs. So the way to rehydrate this is, get this back on. A bit of water in the pan. Now we'll just break these up. Pop them in there. Hence why we're hiding in here. It's getting a bit windy out there. So equal amount, birch billets, oysters, and they're proper dry. You know, they'll last for years. You just break them up, throw them back in.
How did you dry them?
A dehydrator. We invested in a dehydrator a couple of weeks ago, and it works an absolute treat. The billets, they were just air dried. They dry quite easily. Just left on the rack in a warm place. The oysters were holding a little bit of water, so they needed the dehydrator. But I'm hoping this will work. I can't see why it won't. So it's a mushroom cream sort of sauce we're looking for here.
White wine?
We should have had white wine, but yeah, we'll need to do without it. Right, so that fire's starting to look quite good. Burned down nicely. There's a fair bit of heat coming off it. We don't want it scalding hot because these are just being reheated really. But these are the confit pheasant legs. And we'll just whack these on here to be seared. Then what I think we'll do is we'll add them to the sauce and let them soak up that sauce and that cream. But we'll let them just kind of warm up on there, and then we'll get the breasts on as well. We'll just pan fry them. Smoke's getting in my eyes a little bit. So these mushrooms have rehydrated, but when they rehydrate they swell up quite a bit and they become quite big. Maybe a little bit too big for a sauce. We'll run a knife through it, chop them up a little bit, add it back in with the garlic and the onions. This weather is just making this really, really difficult. Our previous sort of catch and cooks have been lovely scenery and nice calm weather. This one's a bit wild. The onions and garlic. We'll get it back on the heat. And we're beginning to get there. So I'm going to thicken this up a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more stock to it. But that sort of late roux that I'm talking about is basically butter and flour that you would add at the beginning of a sauce if you were to do it French style. I'm definitely not doing it French style. And that way, when we add a little bit of sort of cream or a little bit more stock, it'll be a nice thick consistency, hopefully. I'm just going to stir that in. It forms a kind of paste. But yeah, if you're to do this properly, the butter and the flour would be added at the beginning to make a roux. And I'm just going to go and turn those pheasant legs. I can smell them burning away there.
Look at that.
So we're getting there. The wind's getting mental. The rods going off everywhere. The winds are knocking the rods off the stands. It's just getting a bit mad. But we're getting here. So I've taken the meat off the legs, and you can see here the tendons that we were talking about the other day. If that was left in the meat, it would be horrible. It would be horrible. So you take it all off the bone, and you're left with this. And then what we'll do is we'll add this back into the sauce and let it sit and soak in the sauce for a little bit. All we're looking to do is get rid of this yellowy fat. That's not very, very tasty. At this point you can get rid of the skin if you want to. And we just break it all up, strip it up, flakes up, strips up. And it's fairly tasty. Still a little bit dry. I think it's impossible to stop it drying out because pheasant is a really lean bird. But hopefully sticking it back in the sauce will help with that. Right, so there we go. Pheasant leg meat. We'll take it over, simmer it in the sauce, add some cream, and we're nearly there. So we go, sauce back on, get that leg meat in there. Add a little touch more water to that, and then get the cream in at the last minute. There we go, I need a bit of cream into that. That's the sauce, we'll let that sit. Take that off of there actually, pop that down here. There's seasoned these breasts, let's get them on. There we go, let that sizzle. So we'll need to rest these once they're cooked. That'll give us time to get the mash on, heat up the potatoes, and then finally we can eat. Right, just about to bring this all together, hopefully. But as always, need a little bit of herbage. So a little bit of flat leaf parsley, just about good. It's getting to its end of its season. And we'll go like that in there. Take that off the heat there. So swede, kale mash, pheasant in a creamy mushroom sauce, and hopefully we'll just stay there. Pan fried pheasant breast,
Or chicken as you were calling it.
chicken breast, right? And I can get this off without burning my fingers.
They smell amazing.
Some Parmentier potatoes, like get them on a plate and get it eaten. That was hard work. A lot of winds, a lot of weather, it's awkward in the bivvy and the rods are going, but we've lunch. Thankfully, we have lunch. Pan fried pheasant, confit pheasant leg, swede and kale mash, and Parmentier rosemary potatoes. We got there in the end. Don't ask me about the plates, they're not mine.
Or mine.
So as always, I get the first mouthful when Alex cooks, but it's genuinely him that I side doing the cooking, so. Honestly, it smells amazing. I know I say this every time, but
Yeah, there's always going to be a bit of that.
And then you try another bit. Aye. The mushroom I got there, I wasn't sure about, but now I remember what they taste like and they're nice. Sorry, but I'm going to use my fingers for a bit of the breast.
A bit of the breast? Bloody hell.
Right, excuse me, I'll go and finish this off.
Better head shakes there.
See the big head shakes?
Well, I'm going to be brutally honest. We have filmed now, I think this is our 4th Pike session, which should have really been like 2 or 4 Esox Diaries vlog entries, if you will. But I don't like going fishing blanking, and nobody really likes to watch people fish blanking. But with that said, I'm going to stick to our guns about trying not to be showboaters in a way. Like, just stick to the fact that this is the reality of fishing sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. I don't know if this is a run, I think it's just the wind. I don't know, I'll hit it anyway, right? I think it's took me into some weed, and I'm dragging in a bit of branch as well.
You ain't fishing that, I ain't fishing it.
There was a head knock there.
I don't know what's happened here. I felt a head knock. Aye. I don't know what's going on here, I don't know whether it's the run it took it into weed or I'm bringing in a branch at the same time as the fish, because if that's a fish, it's a bit of a bend in the road. I think it's a fish and I've picked up a branch. There's been a couple of head shakes when you're making the net. See, I don't, what is going on here? I think it's swam into a branch. Or it's a massive piece of weed as well. Or I'm going to look like an absolute fool. And there's nothing here. Is there a fish and weed there? There's a big branch in it. I knew there was something wrong with that. That was definitely, a fish was on that and it swam into that branch and made good its escape. Got a wee drop back going on here. Just as we're packing up. Nothing there. That last bait, it's gone. Think that was a fish? Tells if you tighten your drag up before you reeled in than that. Dafty. He reckons he can get all that back to the car without me carrying anything. And if he does, there'll be a 4-pack of beers in it for him. Because there ain't no way I'm walking back for a pike trip, no carrying anything. It's unheard of. Let's see how this goes.